She doesn't flash wealth the way the industry expects. No luxury convoys. No loud receipts. No desperate reminders of success. She doesn't chase noise either. No scandals engineered for attention. No controversy disguised as marketing. No forced moments meant to trend for a weekend. And yet, somehow, her voice keeps finding people who weren't even looking for her. Subscribe for more real stories. And she shows up in quiet moments. Late at night, through headphones, in rooms where nobody is performing for anyone else. And that alone raises a question. In an era where visibility is currency, how does someone grow without shouting? Because the truth is, silence isn't supposed to work. Not in music, not in fame, not in an industry obsessed with numbers, rankings, and net worth. But her story doesn't follow that script. There are no viral breakdowns attached to her name. No public feuds. No headlines screaming controversy. Just sound, soul, and stories that feel uncomfortably honest, like they weren't written for you, but somehow describe you anyway. And maybe that's the unsettling part. While others chase attention, she builds resonance. While the industry counts streams, she counts listeners who stay. And while fame usually demands spectacle, she offers restraint. In a system designed to reward noise, she is doing the opposite and winning quietly. Which makes you wonder, is this intentional? Is it strategy? Or is it something far more dangerous? Because sometimes the people who don't announce their arrival are the ones who change the room forever. And this story, this slow, deliberate rise, was only the beginning. Before we go deeper, if you enjoy stories like this, subscribe. You won't want to miss what comes next. Long before the stages felt familiar, before her name began circulating in creative circles, before the quiet respect she commands today, there was simply a young Kenyan woman alone with sound. No cameras rolling, no crowd applauding, just emotion, curiosity, and a question she kept asking herself over and over again. What happens if I tell the truth exactly as it feels? She wasn't surrounded by industry machinery. There was no major label waiting to polish her image. No overnight viral moment that changed everything in a single post. Instead, there were hours of listening. To old records, to new experiments, to the uncomfortable space between what she felt and how to express it. She taught herself by trying, by missing notes, by rewriting verses, by sitting with songs that didn't work and figuring out why. And most importantly, by failing quietly. While others chased visibility, she chased understanding. Of sound, of silence, of emotion. But the industry didn't know what to do with her. Her music didn't fit neatly into Kenya's mainstream expectations. It wasn't built for clubs. It didn't beg for radio rotation. It didn't rely on trends that expired every few months. Her sound was softer, more reflective. Neo-soul, layered with vulnerability most artists are trained to hide. And because of that, she was easy to overlook. For a long time, she existed on the edges. Not rejected, just unseen. But instead of reshaping herself to fit what was popular, she made a decision that would define her entire career. She stayed honest. She wrote songs that felt like journal entries, raw, personal, lived in. Music that sounded less like performance and more like confession. Nothing manufactured, nothing exaggerated. Then came a turning point. She joined Methoni drummer Queen's performance incubator, a space designed not to manufacture stars, but to refine artists who already had something real to say. And something changed there, not just in her voice, but in her presence. She learned how to stand on a stage without shouting for attention, how to let stillness speak, how to use restraint as power. She discovered that confidence didn't have to be loud to be felt. Around the same period, she helped found Sikiza, a creative forum built for young people who felt unseen, a space where collaboration mattered more than clout. It wasn't about followers. It wasn't about virality. It was about expression. Slowly, something began to happen. Her name started circulating, not in tabloids, but in rooms. Not in gossip, but in recommendations. Live sessions, intimate performances, small crowds that didn't dance but listened. And that's when the shift became undeniable. Her music began traveling faster than she did, shared quietly, saved intentionally, passed along with sentences like, "You need to hear this." Before we go deeper, if you enjoy stories like this, subscribe. You won't want to miss what comes next. There was no explosion, no chaos, no moment where everything suddenly changed overnight. Just steady, deliberate growth. And just when people began asking, "Who is she?" she didn't rush to answer. She kept working, kept refining, kept trusting the pace. Because this story, her story, was never about rushing the destination. It was about building something that could last. And that is how quiet revolutions begin. Unlike many artists in the public eye, she has chosen restraint. Very little of her personal life is placed on display. No forced transparency, no performance of intimacy for engagement. What is known is simple. She is deeply introspective, grounded, and intentional about protecting her inner world. Her relationships, family dynamics, and private experiences are not used as promotional tools, but they exist quietly in the background, shaping the honesty found in her lyrics. You hear it in the pauses, in the restraint. In a way, her songs sound like conversations she's already had with herself. There are no publicized children, no confirmed high-profile relationships dominating headlines. And that choice alone sets her apart. Because in a culture where oversharing is currency, privacy becomes power. Njerae's story isn't loud. It doesn't beg for attention. It waits for the right ears. She represents a different kind of success, one measured in resonance, not riches. In truth, not theatrics. In patience, not pressure. And while her net worth may be modest today, her artistic value is compounding quietly, year by year. Because some artists don't peak early. They last. If you enjoyed this deeper look into a rising Kenyan voice redefining success, make sure to like this video, subscribe for more cinematic documentaries, and comment below. Do you think authenticity still has a place in today's music industry, or is it slowly disappearing? Your thoughts might say more than you think.